What if Mirio Togata was the heir to the most powerful quirk in the world instead of everyone's favorite broccoli-headed nerd? In a recent video, which you should watch by the way, we explored a world where Deku didn't get one for all from All Might. And continuing the theme of ruining Deku's dreams and keeping him quirkless, in this What If, we'll be pondering a world where instead of Deku, All Might picks the golden boy of UA and leader of the Big Three as his successor. So without further ado, let's get to it. And be sure to stick around to see undeniable proof of why Mirio was the better choice as the ninth holder of One for All. So, we all know how the story goes, don't we? All Might, hero of heroes, meets Izuku, a boy without a quirk but a heart of gold who dreams of being a pro hero despite adversity. All Might admires Izuku's spirit and chooses him as the next champion of One for All. A beautiful moment that will undoubtedly go down in history as a modern classic scene in shonen anime. Yeah, that doesn't happen in this timeline. Sorry, not sorry. Instead, in this What If, everyone's favorite number one hero feels much more pressure to find someone worthy of One for All, which is why this time he's more quick to jump the gun on Mirio. You see, Mirio was actually in the running to be All Might's successor before Deku after being suggested by Nezu, the principal of UA. So if All Might never met Deku, there's no foreseeable reason he wouldn't choose Mirio. I mean, they even look alike. But how would it all go down? I think All Might would be eager to meet with Mirio, so he and Nezu would set up a meeting around the same time All Might would have met Deku. By the way, All Might would be taken aback by Mirio's spirit because he basically embodies everything All Might stands for, down to his award-winning smile. Without saying why, All Might declares that he wants to test Mirio's strength in a fight, and well, Mirio would never be able to pass up a chance to show All Might what he's made of. It's sort of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity here. Now, all of this takes place before Mirio's training under Sir Night-Eye, so Mirio wouldn't have the same level of mastery over his quirk that he showed while fighting Class 1A. We don't exactly know how much control Mirio had before meeting Night-Eye, but it's not like All Might would be fighting at full strength, so Mirio would be able to get some hits off. And sure, it might be like a teddy bear hitting a ton of bricks with a marshmallow, but regardless, it'd be enough to impress All Might. Side note, wouldn't it be hilarious to see All Might's face when Mirio activates his quirk and charges at him fully naked? Wait, never mind. I can already hear the fan art being drawn. Moving on, after sparring, All Might would make the choice, to be or not to be. And sure, Mirio struggles with controlling his own quirk already, but we've seen All Might disregard skill or strength for heart. And I don't see how anyone could argue that Mirio doesn't have enough heart. The kid could probably make an octopus jealous. They have 3 hearts, by the way. Unlike Deku, Mirio's built like a Chad, so there's really no reason to wait for All Might to wait to give Mirio One for All. But obviously, All Might would have to ask Mirio first. Picture All Might sitting the mini-me down and spilling the beans. Everything from his messed up organs to All for One and One for All, and after explaining it all Might pops the question. Will you, young Togata, make me the happiest number one hero and become my successor? Okay, I'm paraphrasing. But can't you just imagine All Might doing that? Fanfic aside, how can Mirio say no? He'd be achieving the height of his dreams at, what, 16? Literally nobody could ever say no, except maybe Bakugo and probably Todoroki, but nobody besides them. Now after scoffing down one of All Might's golden locks, the entire ecosystem of my hero takes a drastic change. Without trying to exaggerate, we've never seen someone as strong as Mirio would be with One for All, at least on the anime. But let's go over why. You see, as I've alluded to, not all quirks are made equal. In fact, it's usually the strength of a quirk that makes a pro hero stand out and be admired. And the stronger the quirk, the more drawbacks it might have or the harder it'll be to master. So you know where I'm going when I tell you that even in his time in UA, Mirio couldn't fully control his quirk. Mirio's quirk is called permeation, and it basically allows Mirio to become intangible so he can pass through things like a ghost. And once he mastered it, he learned how to make certain body parts permeate separately, because if he uses it on his whole body, he'll just fall through the ground. Activating his quirk means that everything passes through him, including light, sound, and air, so Mirio can't see, hear, or breathe. And by turning solid while phasing through something, he's repelled out of it, because physics? But Mirio uses it to bounce around his enemies faster than most can react. After mastering his quirk, Mirio was charted as the most likely to be the next number one hero, as a high school student. He completely laid out Class 1A2, including Deku, who had One for All. The kid's a monster. With One for All, he would be literally unstoppable. After receiving One for All Might would make time to train Mirio himself. And being jacked, and used to getting beat up by his own Quirk, a conservative estimate says Mirio can use One for All at around 40% from the get-go. That alone should make Mirio the strongest hero around. And through training with All Might himself, Mirio would be able to learn to master his own Quirk too, often using the two quirks in conjunction, dodging attacks with permeation, and using One for All at the moment of impact for maximum power. And things only get better when All Might joins UA as a teacher, because this time, as well as teaching Class 1A, All Might also teaches Class 3B, Mirio's class. And naturally, people would be curious as to how Mirio suddenly developed monstrous strength, but he just makes something up about his quirk improving, allowing him to increase his density to boost his strength. And that's not entirely a lie. You see, a perk of One for All is that it makes the carrier's own quirk much stronger. What would that mean for Mirio? Well, for starters, he'd be able to control the level of his permeation. Instead of just being inactive or active, Mirio would be able to choose how active. For example, Mirio could make himself permeable enough to go through an attack, but not light or air. A small change, but that means Mirio doesn't have to lose his vision or not breathe while this quirk is active. And I think that not having to fight Blind, Death, and Breathless would take off a big handicap. But we're not stopping there, no, that's not big enough. For the main buff to his quirk, Mirio would be able to make objects he's touching permeate too. So no more having to strip to use his quirk if he's not in his costume. He could protect civilians by making them permeate through attacks or obstacles. But most importantly, and hilariously, Mirio could permeate enemies through objects, causing them to bounce around like pinballs. He could eventually turn foes into high-speed projectiles. All that with the uncontested raw power of One for All, and Lemillion would be the strongest hero ever by a landslide. Nobody would be able to stop this symbol of peace. Not All for One, not Shigaraki, not Overhaul, not the guy from Phineas and Ferb. With the minimal help of other pro heroes, Mirio will usher in a new era of peace, crushing all sparks of fear and terror. But what do you think? Is this the best possible timeline? Is there someone else you have in mind as the strongest wielder of One for All? Check out this video next.